everybody. I have Jordan joining me today, and we're going to be talking about the role of data in digital transformation. But before we dive into the questions that I have for you, Jordan, can you give everybody a quick introduction?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Jordan Anderson. I'm a director at Baker Tilly in the digital practice. My role is really two-pronged. First, I'm in charge of kind of growing the practice and evolving our service portfolio. And then the second prong is I'm in the field working with clients day in and day out on their data journey. So I kind of help organizations structure strategically how they get from where they are today to where they want to be, and kind of build out that whole process and that project to support the goals of that organization from a data perspective.
Great. And we're going to be tapping into some of that knowledge that you're using with your clients day in and day out. So to get us started, I want to just talk a little bit about some of the trends that you see when you're working with your customers, about maybe what are their challenges or struggles that they're encountering as they're looking to have data become a larger role in their transformation.
Yeah, so hands down these days, it's data governance. So organizations, they all too often collect data that they can't effectively leverage because it's either not visible, it's not well understood, it's not trusted in the organization, or it's not of high quality. And so companies miss out on the power of data assets that they spend millions of dollars to collect and store and serve. Additionally, we're kind of growing into an age where we have GDPR, CCPA, HIPAA, PII, and other regulatory requirements that require data to be controlled so that it's not used in incorrect or risky ways, which sometimes can hinder kind of that digital transformation from a risk perspective.
Gotta say, I'm impressed with how you just rattled off all of those acronyms for compliance.
Not my first rodeo.
Exactly. So as you take a look at, tackling this idea of data governance, what are some suggestions that you have for organizations as they try to get their arms around this?
So my guidance is always start with the business and start with the people. Data governance and all of that can be seen all too often as a technical exercise. The tech will come, but focus on people, focus on adoption, focus on usage, and bringing value to the organization. When I think about a data governance program, what I generally kind of offer companies that are starting out on this journey is a few things. They need to gain executive level sponsorship for a data governance program because it impacts the business. It requires executive level involvement, and the organization must be aligned across the company, right? Because this is an organization-wide effort. I advise companies that they bring together data owners and business leaders from each functional area of the business to kind of create this analytic community. And so these are info-savvy individuals from across the business, and really to start to put together this community of consumers and producers of data assets to start to align on, hey, let's drive adoption, right? Let's start to align on how we can get data and information to those to help support decision making, and then in the future, things like AI and automation. From a data governance program perspective, we talk about how we're going to build a case or justify the budget, because this is going to require some of that. I often advise companies that they need to, when they start on this project, to build a case for data governance, right? So a case that delivers, quantifiable impact that aligns with strategic business priorities like, customer targeting or better inventory control or employee retention, right? Something that we can quantify, we can align to, and is strategically important to the company. And also think about, how are you going to judge the success of a data governance program internally, right? What are those internal success metrics? So that might be adoption and usage. Really, if we're not adopting and using the data information assets that we're creating, then the program isn't succeeding. So kind of thinking about those success metrics. And then I guess finally, establishing those processes, everything from data acquisition, data quality management, to business communication and training, and just having those processes defined and starting to think about, how are we going to integrate the business from a data perspective, as well as engage the business or enable the business to use data and information to make better decisions. But remember, like these processes, they should be adaptable and tunable. It's not, a one and done kind of process and policy document that we publish and then call it done. Couple things that I'll also throw out there. Don't be afraid to bring in experts to help set the foundation. That might be a consulting firm, that might be like an industry leader, it might be even a software vendor that has an ancillary service that they can bring to bear. And I guess finally, cut yourself some slack. So these programs, these evolutions take a long time, right? It's not something we're going to go from zero to hero, but we are going to take meaningful steps and produce value incrementally to show the business that, hey, we are progressing along this maturity curve and we're making a meaningful impact on the business and really driving that transformation to be more data driven.
There's two things that you pointed out that anybody who's joined me for more of these conversations in the past will hear these trends and these ideas about digital transformation, whether it's specific software or data or any of these ideas. I continue to hear this: people, then process, and then you bring in the technology. And centering any transformation or any sort of project around the people that are within your organization first and foremost. And then this idea of it taking time and it being a journey and knowing that you're going to have some missteps and that you're going to have to adjust through that journey. So it's a fascinating thing as I'm talking to people in, nuanced expertise across the world on these ideas, and that seems to be the central topic that continues to arise. So thanks for sharing that as well as some of those tangible things. You mentioned during that response as well a little teaser into this next question when we're talking about automation and intelligent automation. And as we look at the landscape changing and bringing more of these advanced technologies into transformation strategies, what role does data play as it plays nicely with these other technologies?
Yeah, so when we think about it, we work with clients all the time that want to get to that AI, ML kind of stage in their analytics maturity and start to automate some of that traditional human decision making, right? All of that is data driven. So, high quality, well understood data is a prerequisite for success with AI. And so as we start to shift responsibility from a human that can look at data and say, that doesn't quite make sense, or go and cross-reference it with something else, like that, those kind of things don't happen algorithmically usually, right? That we are driving data, or we are driving decisions based on the training that these algorithms get based on patterns and data. And then we're informing that algorithm with data sets that we're getting, from our business line applications or, a customer level application, or driving it from the web, whatever that is. And that all needs to be understood. It needs to be of high quality, it needs to be certified so that we know that we're not training with a bias that we didn't really expect. And then we're making decisions that may not be the optimal outcome.
Wonderful. And thank you so much for joining me, Jordan, and sharing some of the insights that you've got from, helping organizations do this transformation day in and day out. I would encourage anybody who is interested in learning a little bit more about Baker Tilly Digital to mosey on over to their website or connect with Jordan here on LinkedIn. But thank you for your time, and thank you everybody for joining us, and have a wonderful day.